Ooh, there they are, back at it. Her name is Kellie. What's up, Kellie? How are you
What's
doing?
up?
And
I'm
my name
randomly Ronnie
is.
Jr.
I figured that's a
Were
good
we
way to
getting each other?
intro.
Is that how it went?
Yeah, maybe for now on, actually. So I'll throw it to you, and you throw it to me. You
Oh,
did
that
good
sounds
though.
good. Okay. I'm into it.
Yeah,
I'm into
yeah.
it.
You did very well.
I'm
Um,
like
do,
stuck in this little corner between two bright ass windows. So sorry.
oh, well, and our one listener will say this. Any chance we get to have you, we'll take you in any capacity. So,
Oh,
if we only had your
well,
voice, yeah. And also,
thank
I'm not telling a lie, although maybe you think I am, because I have a big old smile and a face,
you.
just like Julie did in the episode.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that was goodness. That was such goodness. Of all the episodes, I always come back and I tell you that the series, of course, was out years ago. Honestly, I feel like it's so good. I wish it could be on syndication or something like that for like a new bunch of people to like learn of the show because Difficult People is so funny. This is the one episode I will say that sort of got away from me, if I'm being honest. Out of all seasons, like this was the one that kind of got away from me a little bit. So when I watched it right before we started our recap, I think there was a lot of delight because there was a lot that I was unfamiliar with or forgot.
Yeah.
Were you in the same boat a little bit?
Yeah, it's funny because it wasn't the same for me. And then now watching it again, I find it funny because it's one thing my sister always says that she hates when people are always telling her to smile. Like it's just so
Oh
annoying
yeah.
to hear it. So it made the episode all that much more delightful to watch for me because I could just picture her with this, she has like the best RBF face ever. And then people are always telling
Oh,
her to smile and she's
resting.
like,
Oh,
yes,
RBF is resting
resting
B
bitch
face,
face.
right?
Yes. So when
Oh,
she's
okay,
not
got it.
smiling, she seems to always look mad, even when she isn't, because she just has like that kind of look on her face all the time. So she's constantly being told to smile and then it just makes her mad. So even when she wasn't
Th-
mad, telling her that's just annoying. It's fine.
This is the good thing
I
about.
smile all the time. Like, I think it's like a nervous thing too. Like when I don't know what else to do, I just laugh just to fill
I've
space.
seen that, but I've also seen you at work amongst the wild in the field. You don't have a problem also showing your rougher side, like this, like I need to get shit done side. So I don't know that you always smile. You think you always
No.
smile, or you're talking
Well,
about as a, you know, that's what I like about you. You could give that nervous energy. I'm sure I've seen that too, but I always
mm,
valued you because if you were going through it, you showed it. And that's like one of my favorite qualities with somebody that allows us to know that you're down to business. So that's so funny. Your perception of that was, I feel like it's maybe a little different as I've seen it. Maybe.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like
Yeah.
when I don't know like what else. I mean, when I am dedicated, determined, or in a zone, it is a little different. And sometimes I have to watch my facial expressions because they do my face like everything shows on my face. But when
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
in a like unfamiliar situation or in a new setting or something, I just or I don't know what to say. Usually I'm not rendered like speechless or anything like that. But on the few times that I am, I just always laugh. Like
Uh,
I'll always just laugh. So
I
I
think
fill it with laughter.
your nervous energy, I think, is when you're not like, I think you like having something to do. Like, I think
Yes.
you like excitement. So maybe you're referring to your laughter because I think I have that too, where I'm like, wow, I'm so good with people in general. I'm good with people at work. And then, like, when there's nothing going on, I can have that nervous laugh too. I'm like, what? It wasn't that funny. Why did you laugh like that? I think
Yeah.
we're all sort of the same in that. No, but no, I've seen you. I've seen you in act. I think like you do a thing that I like. You don't just smile for the sake of smiling,
Hmm.
and then later on you're upset. Like we know. It's on.
No,
You wear it on
that is
your
true.
sleeve.
Like I definitely wear everything on my face, and it's very hard for me to hide it when I am annoyed or irritated.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, though, on the flip side of that, if I'm thinking about something or deep in thought about something, and I might not actually be paying attention to what's happening in front of me, like my mind will wander, I'll have this like RBF face of my own. And then people get
Yeah.
really like turned off by that, or like, what's your deal? And it's like, and I was completely thinking about something different that had nothing to do with what was happening in front of me. But my
Right.
face just gives off this like bitchy vibe, and it's like, oh, sorry.
Well, as we're getting in the episode, that's the complexity, and that's also the great thing about learning about people. Growing
Hmm.
up, I would have never known, and I've never done it, and I'm not coming at it from a male, like, chauvinistic mindset, but I would have never known, well, specifically, flirting with women or whatever. Like, I would have never known, speaking and saying, "Oh, smile," is that. But I guess if women are going, and you could clarify it here to your opinion, like if women are constantly having men sort of like not date them, but like flirt with them, or it could be annoying. What's the issue there? Because I had never known that was an issue. I thought it was,
Well,
from my stance. I was like, you know, oh, it's not, just being warm, but it's actually a
and
little
I don't
deeper,
think
right?
that the their intention is to be insulting, but it kind of comes across that way. It's like, it's because you're basically telling someone that they aren't good the way that they are. They need to do this to change. Like, you're being more appealing if you do this. Like,
Hmm.
oh, do this, then you'll come across better. Like, what's wrong with me now? If that, you know what I mean? It's like, why do you
Yeah.
have to criticize me? Why don't you make me laugh? Say something to make me
Oh,
smile instead of telling me to.
I don't think I've been in that situation, but it was, like I said, interesting, and I was being honest
Hmm.
there, that like I didn't never know that would specifically be something. But now as I look at the big picture, I'm like, what is it about a man, not mansplaining, so to speak, but what is it about a man making it like, oh, your only get in the world is being, pleasuring me, and not in that way, but like
Right.
smiling and being warm.
No,
But in
totally.
reality,
Yeah.
it's like she might be the doctor. She might be the scientist. And I think that's maybe where it came from. But I'm being truthful that I didn't know that initially. And so you'll go into different situations like the workforce or whatever. And sometimes I'll like watch what I say just out of respect. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's, in my head, I'm like, oh, she's got a nice new dress, or she's got a nice haircut. I'm like, don't say nothing. Don't reduce a woman
Hmm.
to beauty.
But it's also like
I
a rock and a hard place, right? Because we do, as people in general, I feel like everyone likes to be complimented. It's nice when someone can point out something, especially if you take the time to go and buy a new dress, or you take the time to put yourself together before you go out. Like, you want someone to notice that. And growing up, I had really bad teeth when I was young. Like, I had a horrible, like, my like crooked, crazy. I had braces, and thankfully for me, my hardworking mother made sure that I was able to get braces, and I had to go through middle school with braces. But
oh
after that, so smiling for a while was, I was always self conscious about it. But then after I got my braces, I think one of my most favorite compliments, and I know it is for my mom, that I will get complimented that, not that I have a nice smile, but that I have pretty teeth. And
oh, that's
that
good.
to me is such a great compliment, because I was so self-conscious about it. And if I'll have to, like, I should have had it ready, but I should show you pictures of my poor horrific smile before. Because even when I was younger, I'd have my front two teeth
Ah,
pulled, so I had like no front, like, it's always been like a thing. But
yeah,
now I have a nice straight smile, so thank you, mommy.
yeah, and
So
kids
now
are
I am
cruel.
happy to smile, but
There you
when
go,
it's
there you go.
warranted.
But it's tough to identify with people of what's the right and the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
There was a through line in this episode where, it was being said to smile quite a bit. And again, these are the things that you don't think of as a man. There's so many things that you're like, oh wow, I
Mhm.
guess, yeah, what was there, that video years ago where the girl was getting hit on from like this street to this street, and it was nonstop. Like, it's not chivalry at that point. It's more,
Right.
catcalling or whatever, and that's something you don't think of. There was an apartment I was looking for with a friend of mine, and it was so funny. Like I left out certain aspects that she would have to look for, as far as like, the safe location because of being a
Mhm.
woman and going home at a certain time of night. And I was not shocked, but like you forget, that is what's being a man. You don't really have to go there sometimes. So this
Yeah.
episode was good for that, for the like, oh yeah, you don't, it's not your right to tell a woman to smile. Like she, like she might be doing 100 things at once, like, why don't you smile? Or like Kelly said, make me laugh, damn it. But the part, Kelly, that was funny to me was how in the old days you had the cruising spot, and then
Mhm.
now all the cruising spots are turned into being such a Sephora lifestyle.
Mhm.
And it was funny because the leather guy was like, "Well, you could at least smile."
Oh, honey, you should smile or whatever he said. It's like, ew. But it's one of those things where let's say you're walking around and every time somebody passes you, they're like, oh, you should stand up straight. You'll look better. Like you should do,
Mm,
oh, why are you slouching? You know what I mean? If it was
yeah,
constant, that's kind of like how it is. Like, why are you criticizing me? You want to see me
right.
smile, say something funny or say something
And-
nice.
oh, there you go.
Because as
And
soon as
let
someone says something nice to you, it's an automatic, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Right,
So
it should be the projection on you, actually. You
yeah. So
you
it's like
haven't you haven't done
you want
nothing
to
to
see
make me
that,
smile.
then be
You
nice.
just gotta let people do what they do. Like, I've been around
Mhm.
people in the recent times where they're on this whole like, "Oh, uh-oh, negativity," in the sentence, in the
Mhm.
conversation, "Oh, negativity, negativity," and abort, abort. They just don't wanna do any conversation with substance, and I'm like, you're sort of making me have to always live in a fantasy land in Disneyland. And I'm like, sometimes conversations just need to be had that aren't the greatest, but they're also not mean or whatever. Now that's not the same situation, but it's that
Mhm.
concept of telling the other person how to react to a certain situation. Gosh, like, oh no, we don't talk about nothing negative, or maybe you should be less negative. And it's like, I'm not really negative. So I don't know why I brought that up. I guess it's not exactly a similar case, but it's just a way to understand
But it's also
it.
the prejudice, right? The prejudice of what you feel someone is projecting. Because I know a lot of
Mhm.
times, like I'll be in the middle of stuff and I'll be working, and I'm just the type of person that I always have something to do, so I'm never not going to be busy. So you're never not going to like you're always going to interrupt something, but that doesn't mean you can't talk to me. It just means that you should have just manners and like, excuse me, hey, do you have a second?
Mhm.
Can you help me out with something? And that's the thing that I've always told people, and they're like, oh, but you seem like so scary because you just have this look on your face. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm busy, I'm concentrating, like I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. The job that I was doing, it's very thought provoking. Like I have to sit and I have to write a lot of stuff, so I'm constantly having to use my brain all the time, and I'm deep in thought about things because I'm writing.
Yeah.
So my face isn't always going to look so chipper if I'm like trying to think about things or reading, like rereading things in my head and all the stuff that goes with what I do. So you saying that I'm projecting to you that I'm not projecting anything to you. I'm not even thinking about you. I'm not worried about you. I'm worrying about
Yeah.
what I'm doing. So you have to not be so sensitive, and this is a work environment, to be able to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I know you're in the middle of something, but can we take a couple minutes? Can you do this? And if I can do it right then, I will. If not, I'll be like, oh, can you give me 2 minutes to finish what I'm doing?
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
just like having that communication, but it's also like not being so prejudiced to just throw somebody off, like, oh, well, you're this way because you don't smile, or you're this way because of this or that, when you don't really know.
or yeah, she's mean or whatever, just because it's like, things are challenging, business is challenging, work is
Yeah.
challenging, work life balance is challenging. And I kind of mentioned it a second ago, but just I will say, this is actually what made me want to work with Kelly, because, and I think I'm the same way, I would hope I'm the same way. I let it I wear it on my heart too, just like you. And I always like, okay, here as an example, if Kelly and I ever have like a difference of opinion within producing our show, it may not always be beautiful, but I know that unlike other people, I won't ever have to worry about Kelly. She's a big girl. And even if like maybe I make an error, maybe she makes an error, or whatever the case, like I always feel like I could bring it to you. And I love that about working with you, because it's like other people you just don't know. And you having the wherewithal to always be like, focused, luckily I'm a bit confident in this side of things. I don't that doesn't make me feel weird. Like, I mean, I
which
think
is great.
it's made us all feel weird to a degree. I know there's been times in my career or my life where I've been like, "Excuse me, sir," like whoever's the boss, or
Of
"Excuse me,
course.
ma'am." I used to have that. I actually don't like that. I actually feel like we should have grown up with more knowledge that you should hold your head a little higher. I used to walk into situations. This is only after, being in the industry for so many years that I've recently understood, as an example, if Kellie's got a little thing going on, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And if I need to get her together, I'll get her together. No, I'm kidding.
No, but
But you
right,
see what I'm
absolutely. Yes.
that
That
doesn't
that
I
right
can't
there is exactly what I'm saying. Like, yes, you have no idea what's going on with someone else. Like, you can't take it all so personal to where you're using it as an excuse where you can't do something because you're putting all of this on someone else that has nothing to do with you. And that's
yeah.
like a challenge that has always been so interesting to me, because it's like, just because, like, it's always like shifting that blame, right? So, in this instance, like, smiling, is magic, and it does so much in this episode that we're seeing, right? Like, it's so,
Yeah.
because it's that thing that everyone says, like, good energy, like, finds good energy, right? So if you're always wearing a smile, then all the good things will happen, and it's all like
Which is
magic. But
bullshit.
which we find out through the end of the episode, because then when you're overdoing it and it's not genuine, it all turns to
Mhm.
shit. So
Yeah.
that's a great lesson, and what I love about this show, because it does show you. If you pay
Mm.
attention, it shows you that.
It's not sustainable to do that route of like, oh, just always put in a good mood. And we did see that within Julie. When she had that face like this, all of a sudden a lot of good things are happening. And I could certainly see that. I know no one wants to start their day with Ronnie's bullshit or Kelly's bullshit, but
Yeah.
sometimes there's just moments, they're just quick moments that there is BS that you have to kind of go through. So
Hmm.
the notion to be like, oh, if you just change your mood, because I've had people tell me that, oh, well,
Hmm.
Ronnie, it's the way you say it. I'm like, I mean, do I gotta wipe their ass too? Like
Well, because I think you and I have this are very similar in the sense that we say things, like, we're not taking the extra time. I know I don't. I'm not trying to sugarcoat some shit. I'm not trying to pad it on the front and the back of it so that you can feel better about the words that I'm saying. You need to
mm,
take it as it is. This is what it is. There's
mm,
no emotion with it. It's just a simple statement. If you are getting so, like, if you, it's hurting your feelings, that's all on you. That has nothing to do with
yeah.
me. It's like, it's
And
information that I'm passing along.
it's good to be that direct, because then let's say there is a level of like, mess, you now
Hmm.
it's the simple like, hey, can I chat with you for a bit because of blank blank blank, like I have some friends that I've been friends with and creatively worked with for so many years and have had zero issues, but anytime something cringy sort of bubbling up, you just bring
Hmm.
them to the side and like you could say, from my stance, this is kind of bugging me, boom 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 boom, and it's so
Hmm.
easy.
It
So
is, and then
communication
they'll
is
be like,
hard.
yeah, but they probably don't even realize most of the time that, because they have other things on their mind or whatever, they don't even realize that that's what they're doing. So then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. Now they'll be more conscious about that. And then
Yeah.
the whole dynamic changes. Like, I've had that happen too. Like, I get so focused on the things that I'm doing that I start almost speaking kind of like robotically, that there is no emotion. I'm just like spewing out shit, and it's like hurting people's feelings because I'm, always mean, right? But then it's like, you come and talk to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not. That's not what's happening. It's like, I'm relaying information to you as I get it, because I've got this much to do, and I need you to help me with this much of it.
Right.
So I'm not going to, just instinctually, I'm not going to take the time to pad it, sit there and have a conversation with you that takes up another 30 minutes of my day to make sure that you feel good about what I'm saying to you. It's simply just information delivery. But now I
Or
understand that you need that.
yeah.
So then in my delivery to you, I will make a conscious effort to make sure that you're comfortable with how I'm relaying my information. So you know what I mean?
And there's
Like,
nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So.
nothing wrong with having that warmth moment where you can be giggly and smiling all the time, but,
Mhm.
when you're communicating with somebody, there might not be that time available, It's always I have seen mostly, working in radio, being around a lot of talent, and not even people who are in front of the microphone or in front of the television, but behind the scenes. Sometimes people aren't afforded too much free time to do the giggling with you, and actually,
Right.
that should be almost a red flag as well, like, "Oh, so and so, they're so nice." Well, I'm sorry, we've got like a production, that's being fed to NBC. There's gonna have to be some, tightness to the equation. And if you found a
Mhm.
staff member here that's giggling, that's probably not a good sign for efficiency. So it's all kind of relative to that. I'm always, Kelly, so interested to meet J Lo because they always say she's so rough. But I got to tell you, Kelly, I think J Lo would love me. I think she would. I just feel like she would. I feel like she's my type of person. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't
I think the
like.
people around her are a little rougher, which probably might come from her because she is such a hard worker and she needs to keep a schedule and like all that. And of course, she never wants to personally seem like the difficult one. But when she did the Jingle Ball, which is the story I've told a lot, I think it was Jingle Ball.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Mango
Yeah,
Tango.
you said it
I
here.
don't know
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that when she was married to Mark Anthony, like there was someone at the time that were in her camp that were telling me stories about, because I was, joking with them and they're like, yeah, the whole like the room has to have white roses and like all the shit from the writer and like whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then her security guard was kind of a jerk, and I just ignored him. And I was like, dude, I got a job to do. I don't have time to mess with you. Let's just go.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
but that's why
That's
I was
yeah.
always the one that was put in those situations because we have a time schedule. You're already late. I don't have
Mhm.
time to go through your bullshit of your power trip. Like, I can't do that. Like, we got shit to do. And I would always
Yeah.
do it in kind of that nice bitchy way that I was be like, okay, great. Okay, now we're gonna do this though. So
Yeah. You
that's
use your
why
words
I
really
was
well.
really
Yeah.
nice with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I did
No
hear
no
some
one
little stories from people that were in part of her camp. But she seemed super nice to me. I mean, she didn't have to introduce herself to me. I mean, I was a lowly little PA. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I was just taking
She
her to the
saw
stage.
she saw the
But she
star
was.
that you were. Yeah.
She totally made it like she introduced herself to me. She was very nice. Mark Anthony didn't. And I never liked him. Ugh, just his energy grossed me out. But
We don't slander Mark Anthony around
sorry,
around
but
the
that's
show.
the
No.
energy that he like
Mm-mm.
I
Mm-mm.
just didn't like it.
Don't
But
talk
she
about
was super
daddy like
nice.
that. No.
She was super sweet and she was nice and she like I
See what
said,
tell
I was just a PA taking her to stage and she treated me like I was an important person and I appreciate like that I was a person and I appreciate that because some of them didn't.
as referenced in the show, see what telling women to smile leads to. So maybe check your own shit. And if you want her
Exactly.
to smile, as Kelly said, crack a joke.
Be nice.
Because
Give her a
because
compliment.
we sure went on a tangent, a very necessary one though, because it's all tied together. It's all tied together. So Julie ends up
Totally.
getting this situation of faux smiling based on what? She gets a procedure.
Okay,
Um,
so we have to backtrack a little bit because the procedure comes. Okay, so first of all, she has this neighbor, this annoying neighbor that's never home, and that condescendingly mentions to Julie, "Well, you're always home." So she wants her to sign for her packages, so that way they don't
mhm,
get stolen out of in front of her apartment. So Julie's annoyed by it. She's like, "No, I'm not doing it anymore." Well, after she tells her no, another package comes. So Julie refuses to sign for it, but then decides to take it. And when she opens it, it's one of those like golden toilet seats. And
uh-huh.
so she's super excited about it. So she puts it in the bathroom, but realizes that her booty is a little bit too luscious to fit on that toilet seat.
Which
So
you could
she wants to
totally
do something
tell,
about
yeah.
it. I mean, that
That's
toilet seat is like
terrible.
tiny. Like, who fits on that? So
That's so
she
terrible
wanted
of
to do
Julie,
something
though.
about it.
Mhm.
And then while that's happening, Marilyn reaches Marilyn runs into
Well,
an
she gets
old friend of hers, which is Susan Lucci, greatest cameo, loved it.
Yeah.
Who is one
Yeah.
of her friends that has a granddaughter and looks really youthful, is looking really good, and she, attributes all this, newfound youth to her granddaughter. And
And
that's
she
just like
said
the
it
love of
wickedly
having a
too.
granddaughter. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's my
yeah,
fountain of
condescending,
youth.
like, "She's my friend. Maybe one day you'll know what that's like." Stuff like that, and it was just when you wonder about Marilyn and why she's so selfish,
Hmm.
there's many reasons, but it's always nice to see Marilyn's crew or her peers and the women she sort of has to, hold up to, so it kind of is very telling once you get to see her friends because they're
Yeah.
always trying to one up each other. I don't have
Hmm.
grandchildren because my daughter's in comedy. You gotta laugh. Like it's just kind of this constant that Marilyn is as wild as she is and as self-absorbed as she is, but sometimes it's because of her circle. So I thought that was actually a great scene.
Yeah. So then she gets on this tangent where she wants Julie to. Oh, because she tries to go get some frozen yogurt. So she walks into an old Pinkberry that's
Yeah.
now apparently an egg harvesting place where you can freeze your eggs. But it still
Yeah.
looks like the yogurt shop, which was
Yeah, yeah.
hilarious within itself because she wants to go eat her sorrows away. Um,
Yeah.
and then she gets this idea, okay, well, what if I have, this like older woman comes in and she's like, oh, she looks like my daughter's age. And I thought that was insulting
Mhm.
because that woman looked a lot older than Joy.
That woman
But
looked older than Marilyn. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, "What am I missing here?" Yeah. So in Marilyn's
so,
mind, what is she thinking? Marilyn's mind is like, if I could get Julie to do this, that will be my fountain of youth. So really
yes, so
nothing
I'll
with
have it, yeah,
Julie, all selfish is the move,
totally
right?
selfish. Yes,
Okay.
as it always
We'd
is.
we'd
Mhm.
expect nothing less.
Nothing less. So
Yeah.
she decides that she's going to pay for the procedure, and she goes to see Julie at the cafe, and makes this offer to her. So Julie decides to take it, but she doesn't use it to harvest her eggs. She uses it to go get a flat flush so she can fit on this toilet.
So
That was
she could fit on a
essentially what she was
toilet.
doing. She needed to slim down so her butt would fit on that toilet. So she goes to the med spa and they give her these options and she gets the injections. And then
Mm.
they freeze the fat in her face and they freeze the fat in her body. So she's like, standing all straight and proper and she's all frozen. So she's frozen in this smile and
Yeah.
she's like, can't sit down because it's painful. But she has this dance where she just looks so happy. And so, like, her posture is perfect. And she's giving off this energy that is just so happy and friendly. And she's just fooling everyone because she's just frozen that way.
Um, that's the problem, I guess. I don't know. What do you think of going to like a med spa? What do you think of a little procedure? We've talked about this a little bit. Where do you stand with some of those things?
I personally, just from what I've personally seen from people and friends of mine that I know that have done it, it's when you're, especially when you're young, it's just, I don't think it enhances, I think it ruins. And it all depends on how you use it, what you use, how you do. But I don't feel like I've seen anyone that actually looks better when they start so young when they do it. So I
Mhm.
think you just have to be, I'm not necessarily against it. It's just you need to be educated about it. And you need to make sure it's something that you truly like when you're in your early 30, you're young, don't do that. Like don't
Yeah.
like work out, use coconut oil, like find some natural remedies to help your skin with the less, whatever, before you
Mhm.
start putting all that stuff in it because your body's still changing and I feel like it just ruins it as you get older. I just haven't seen any
Yeah.
really great,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
fictionally, Julie's under like what 35 years
I
old
think she's like
in the
36
show.
or something. Yeah. But
Yeah. So it's probably not the best bet for her.
no.
And if you are gonna do it, don't like go to a reputable place too. I mean, your mother
Well,
has the
I mean, you
money.
have to do your research and you have to see what's best for your body and like all of these things. And it's all, beauty's in the eye of the beholder and all that stuff. And it's all what ultimately needs to be right for you. Y- And I don't begrudge
Yeah.
anybody that wants to do it, but I also feel bad when you're already like, you know, you're already such a like a beautiful person, and then you're messing with the stuff, and it doesn't always, it's not always the outcome you think it's going to be. So just be careful.
Oh no. See, I'm thinking when the money's long, like real long, where you can get the best of the best quality.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh yeah, a little nip and tuck here for me. Not the injections or whatnot. I'm a little I'm not really familiar with all that does or what it's supposed to do. Or
Mhm.
I think it is different with a woman's face and a man's face. Although men get Botox also, right? And young at that.
Probably.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
I
I
think
don't
it's
rule
just,
it
yeah.
out. I
Just be
rule
careful is all I'm saying.
I have visions of just a chin implant, so you have that nice jawline. I have visions of that waistline that goes like this. Nice, that little V situation.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, yes, to work out forever, but I'm talking about that loose fat that just doesn't seem to go away.
Hey,
Um,
I'm saying, like I said, I'm not like against it. I mean, I think whatever is right for you, and if you can afford it, hey, go for it. Just be careful with it and don't overindulge, because you can't take it back. So
well, I don't
I
think the
think there's like a
reason.
no return policy with that. So it's like, once that
Yes,
shit goes in your face, like, what are you gonna do?
yeah, I don't think the reason I would do it though is because I'm sitting on the toilet and all of that, like that as her reason was a funny thing. It was almost as if she
Hmm.
didn't realize her body size. Like well, no, because she always talks about her body size. It was just funny that
Yeah.
that was the thing that got her to go do it. I like the way they talked about that seat though. They're like, oh yeah, and it washes the this and the that or
The
whatever,
cooter
you
and the
know.
pooter.
Mm-hmm. Would that be like that would be like a bidet, right?
Yes, sort of. Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah.
have you ever had have you ever have you is the ocean flown to you through that?
I've
Have you ever
used
done
one.
that?
Yeah, I've used it before in like some real fancy hotels. Yeah.
I'm so
Hmm.
jealous.
Yeah. It's
You
super
are
weird.
talking. Is it no more weird than a tongue?
Wow.
Because I am well, because here's my okay, I'm gonna really take you there. I need to censor myself next time. I'm gonna take you there because I feel like a tongue feels great. Have you experienced that? Never?
No.
Kel- Kelly was like, "Don't ask me." Okay.
I've never
Well, I'm
experienced
telling you,
anything ever.
virginal Kelly. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm saying a tongue feels really wonderful. Okay, so that's
Okay.
first. But however, people who've never experienced a tongue, or I'd imagine they have not, they use with the toilet paper. They want to use the wet wipes. I can't stand the wet wipes. Again, all for a tongue, but not the wet wipes. And I understand these are
Really?
two different situations. Yes, one
Okay.
is for
Well, but
pleasure, and one is
why though? I'm curious. Like, why?
because they're so gross and they feel so liquidy, and I don't like it. So I'm trying to say, and I'll do a little test. I'll try it one day and I'll report back to you. I'm saying it's funny because being at the bar and tipping a couple back, and then all of a sudden oh, feels great. But then toilet paper I prefer. I don't like getting the ones that are wet and then it doesn't feel good. I don't like it at all. Um, so then the next step would be I wonder if I would like a bidet. Now you're saying it feels weird. It feels weird.
Well, it does. It's because it's different. It's a different feeling. But I mean, you do feel clean. I mean, because it's just like, essentially
Well,
it's just
that's the
like a
point.
shower. It's a shower
Yeah.
under there.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's interesting.
you know, we'll have to do a drinking game, and I'll have to stop talking in the erotic space. It's just I'm trying to connect so well, and that's the problem of doing a show with somebody you've known for a long time is that I get too damn comfortable. Kelly, slap on the wrist. I
That's
will
just
not.
know this is where Ronnie's head always goes. It's always something in that space, which, hey, what, I'm fine with it. Let's chit chat. It's all good.
I just thought I was a good communicator, but I didn't realize it until I says, "Have you ever had anyone do it to you?" And you looked at me like I was nuts. Um, well, well, I have like people have done it to me, and I've done it, with the old tongue. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. Yeah, yeah. No, it is absolutely fantastic. And other things too, but like it's
Mhm.
absolutely fantastic.
Mhm.
How did we
Well, I
get here?
recommend trying the bidet if you haven't yet. If you haven't tried it, it
Okay.
might cure your little phobia of wet wipes, but
Mhm.
it's an interesting experience. It's like a little
Yeah.
tool. It's a little like, oh, when it first, when it first happens.
Your booty's like,
You know
ooh.
what that is.
Um,
But
yeah. All right. I want to this damn show, man. This damn show. It's a great time to tell you that this show is actually brought to you by the wonderful people. Why you laugh? The wonderful people at Viridian Row, where creativity never goes out of style. They are fantastic. Kelly, take it away and tell me a clean and not erotic story about the great Viridian Row.
well, I'm definitely going to put it in order at ViridianRow.com for a custom t-shirt that depicts this conversation right here for Ronnie. But they have
Ugh.
some really cute designs. Movie quote shirts are so cute, such great gift ideas. They've got all kinds of graphic tees, and you can also customize your own. There's also home decor, some one-of-a-kind finds, some vintage stuff, some art, hand painted stuff. It's a lot of good stuff. So definitely go to the website www.viridianrow.com, and it's row with an E, and check out their stuff.
And we also have, Viridian Row also has a Billy Eichner inspired, Billy Epstein inspired quote from Difficult People from the
Yes.
first episode from season 1. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have that shirt. I own that shirt. I wear it. When I wear it out and about, people are always looking and saying, wow, you look really cute. And I say, thank you. I know I do. So thanks to Viridian Row for helping us with our show, especially early on, because when we started this show, it was small and now it's it's still small. But Viridian Row,
But it's
they see
fun. It's
they see
fun.
the vision. What else
Mm-hmm.
do we have? We have Billy. His position in this episode is that he's gonna try out as an acting teacher.
Well, he runs into his old acting teacher who started his own school. So he said that there was he runs into him when he's cater waitering a quinceanera, and the teacher ends up being a guest there. And he says that there's an
And
open
not
an
just
open
any
spot.
quinceanera, Anna Wintour's
Angela Shores, yes,
staff's
yes,
daughter's quinceanera.
yes,
It
where he
could
has
be
to go.
it couldn't be the most cringy situation for Billy where you're like working and you don't want to necessarily be seen because you don't want to be around those people. So that is a contrast that we've all been in where you're like at these events and you're like, "Oh no, I'm the worker." like
Yeah,
this
I'm the
is
help.
I don't want to in any other situation I wouldn't mind seeing Anna Wintour that could help my career, whatever, a great experience, but like yeah, no. But he sees
Mhm.
he sees this teacher, yeah, which we do find out later in the episode that the teacher is a little bit more naughty than we expected, which I
I
didn't expect. I didn't
I did
expect.
not either. Another great cameo, by the way.
Oh
So the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
teacher has an open spot for they need a class covered because the original teacher got hit by a truck and died.
Because
And I mean,
naturally.
because it's New York, it happens. So that's what happened. So Billy goes and tries it out, and then realizes that he is going to be putting on an industry showcase with these kids. At first, he's not really into it. He just wants, to get paid, pass the time. And then he hears about this showcase. And then he realizes that he's going to be in a room with all these agents and managers and different industry types. And Julie gives him the brilliant idea of just like crashing all their scenes and just making himself the focus, which of course he does, because who cares about
Yeah,
the kids?
because
They all
we've
suck anyway, right?
the only way to do it. Yeah, kids
I
you naturally
mean,
have to
what are
be
you gonna
kind
do?
to, but you could see the true talent that is Billy. And it really
Mhm.
reminds you of when Tall, his niece, was at her showcase, and it was really not about her at all. And it was like Tall, Julie's like, oh, she's gonna be one of us, she's gonna be, just an outsider. Like you gotta show her love. But the real angle even though that was kind of him, was more to be around the right people,
Mm-hmm.
and screw her acting career. It was about Billy,
Right.
Billy Epstein, SAG after. Like, it's always about where to weave your way into the situation. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
But then it comes back
yeah,
and bites him in the butt because he does a great job. Everyone's impressed and they love what he did. The poor kids are all like, what the fuck? But
uh,
then the teacher makes a statement that's like, this is my protege. I've taught him everything he knows. And, it's all like, applause. He's got a meeting set up with an
yeah.
agent. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, Matthew is auditioning for the new season of How to Catch a Predator. So he's practicing his bait scene with Nate, and he's showing everybody his audition tape, and nobody cares. But it's just hilarious. And then when he gets a snippet, when he sees like a preview of the upcoming season where he doesn't get cast and they cast someone else, we find out, lo and behold, who's the predator? Of course it's
Billy's old
Billy's
teacher.
teacher.
Yeah. Gross. Which is
Always.
well, because Julie's like reacting and Billy's reacting, and Billy's like, "No, you don't understand. He basically is vouching for me, and now this, like
Yeah.
that's gonna ruin, like you said, it's gonna ruin
Everything.
everything." I love
Mm-hmm.
Matthew's take, or he's like, "I'm gonna go rollerblade into a good mood." I'm gonna go rollerblade into having a good mood. I was like, "Hey, you know what? If they're gonna tell you smile to have a good mood, you should also roller skate to have a good mood."
Right.
I could dig that,
Well,
which I
yeah.
don't
And
think
then Bill.
worked.
No. Well, it worked for Billy and Julie because they're like, we don't think we'll ever be happy again or laugh again. And then Matthew comes in and falls, and it was just hilarious to them. So they love,
Yeah. Somebody
cashing in
else's
on someone else's
pain,
pain.
mhm, is Billy and Julie's pleasure. Absolutely. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
Yeah.
Ah.
But another great episode
Mm-mm-mm.
down. We are almost
Mhm.
through. There's the rest of the series, which I can't believe we've
Mhm.
already gone through 2 and almost a half. Like, it's crazy.
I was gonna tell you real quick before we wrap. I watched the Andy Warhol Diaries on
Oh,
Netflix.
yeah. How was that?
Um, it was good, and I enjoyed it because I remember like the dig, but like a playful light dig that Julie and Billy would be like, "Oh God, he would be so annoying on Twitter or Instagram or whatever," which is so
Mm-hmm.
funny because a lot of this particular diaries wasn't really just like a documentary in the sense of like this happened on this date and this date and this date. It was very like warm, because you would hear a generated, like an audio generated version of his voice, and it really is that whole thing of how much he curated his success, and how how he kind of did it within the 60s, but then it was different in the 70s and the 80s. And like, I forgot he did have his MTV show. Like, he had an MTV show, so it really was, he's held to such a high esteem, but it's such like a behind the curtain, so dark, which of course you kind of already knew. You knew he was shot, you knew all those things, but it was a lot like where I was like, oh wow, the people behind Warhol, the foundation or whatever, they're really showing his ass. Like, it wasn't one of those like documentaries where they're protecting him, so to speak. Like, they're giving
Mm-hmm.
all the good and the bad or whatever. So I really enjoyed it. And did you know he
Ah.
dated two twins? I thought that's just interesting. He dated two twins. Yeah. And they even talked about his complexities of like he was odd and unique, but he wasn't necessarily stepping out as like, I'm a gay man into I mean, he was, but he wasn't, it's like there was a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
really interesting things going on. I watched it. I thought it was really delightful and done well.
I'm going to have to check it out for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, like Billy and Julie said on the episode, oh God, he would be absolutely annoying on Twitter. That's all I could think about, because you didn't, like I said, it wasn't just like his accomplishments. This was more like the way his mind worked, and it was like not complete, not finished, and insecure, and all this stuff. And I was like, oh God, Billy
Mm-hmm.
and Julie, I could only hear them saying how much of a creep he would be in the current generation. With the respect of his work, and all that he did contribute
Totally.
to, of course. Yeah, yeah. So that's it for me. Is that a wrap on your end as well?
Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
mean, I'm excited to keep going and, see what happens in the conclusion of this fantastic series.
Okay. Well, my name is randomlyronniejr.com. Kellie's name is Kellie079. And I assume
On
that's
all
the
the
year you were
social
born.
platforms.
Yeah. So follow us. Talk to Kellie. Don't talk to me because I don't want to write you back. And I guess that's the end of the episode. Kellie, I will see you on the next one. Okay.
Yes.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.